the logistics, and the numbers. Now you know what content marketing is, why it matters, and how other creators are using it to grow their visibility and their trust, all while making more sales. The next question is what you actually need to do on a day-to-day basis to grow your site and build that trust. How often do you need to post? Which types of content should you provide? How long is an ideal blog post? That's what we'll be examining in this video. Types of content marketing. The most popular type of content marketing by far is written. In other words, content marketing here involves writing regular blog posts and articles and then posting them on a blog or website. This provides a base where your viewers can come to enjoy your content and will allow you to benefit from the SEO that comes from regularly adding content to your website. It also means you can then share your posts on social media in order to build a following and to direct even more traffic to your site. But written content is just one form of content marketing. Other options include video, live video, podcast, images, quizzes, tests, and games, and music. And even within the most basic written version of content marketing, you still have many different forms. From the trashy, short-form, humorous content that is shared on BuzzFeed to the more in-depth, challenging pieces shared on something like Brain Pickings. Then you have content that is evergreen, meaning it will last forever, and content that is very contemporary and temporal, such as breaking news. Each different kind of content has its advantages and disadvantages, and depending on your audience and your goals, you are going to take a different approach to regularity, length, etc. But for the most part, it is likely safe to assume that you are going to want some form of blog. Even if you make video marketing a big push, you will likely do this in addition to a blog. For that reason, we will assume for now that this is the route you are going to take. In that case, we can make some useful suggestions as to the regularity and methods you use for publishing your content. Frequency, length, and more factors. Frequency. If you want to build a following on your blog, then you need to be frequent and consistent. This is an absolute priority, as failure to post regularly will quickly result in your visitors losing interest and no longer looking up your site. If they check several times and your site is the same as it was last time they looked, then this means that they will be likely to give up. The very minimum you should be posting then is once a week. If you do this, then you should also post on a consistent day and make sure that you are always on time. But while you can get by on one post a week, this is very much not the best strategy. What is more preferable is that you aim to produce multiple blog posts in a single day. Failing that, you should aim for at least one blog post a day. That might sound like a lot, but the proof is in the pudding. Think of any of the top blogs that you like to read on a regular basis. How many blog posts do they have? In all likelihood, they probably post multiple times in a single day, or at least a single time a day. If you are an entrepreneur hoping to make money from a website or blog, hoping to earn enough that you can quit your day job, then the main activity you should be engaging in is writing your content and then promoting your content. And if you want this to be your full-time job, then you need to treat it like a full-time job. You can't get a full-time salary from 2 hours of work every week. So, learn to write well and learn to write fast. Length. In terms of length, most SEOs and marketing experts now recommend aiming for longer form content. Anything that's 1,500 words and over will be able to provide much greater depth and much more insight compared with something that is just 500 words. As such, these longer posts tend to be better at creating trust and authority, and they also tend to be shared more. They additionally have a greater chance of ending up in Google's curated news section, which is fantastic for increased visibility and more visitors. The only problem is that writing one or more posts a day at 1,500 words each becomes a rather impossible task for most brands and most bloggers even. Thus, a better strategy might be to aim for shorter content, perhaps 500 to 7 words for most posts, and then to write a few longer ones. This also has another added benefit, in that it will allow you to keep your content looking more natural and organic. When every single post on your website is roughly similar in terms of its size and structure, then this actually can be a bad thing from an SEO perspective. To Google, too much consistency doesn't look organic. It doesn't look as though you wrote the articles that way, because that's how you thought they should be. But rather, it looks like you wrote them that way because you thought it would help you climb Google. In other words, it looks like you're trying to game the system. Conversely, if your content varies in length, then it looks more as though you're focused on delivering good content for your readers without concern for how it might impact your SEO. Ironically, this is what Google wants you to do. Likewise, it is also better for your readers, as they won't always have time to sit down and read a huge amount of text on a subject. With shorter bite-sized information and longer posts, they can instead read it at their own leisure and pick the right post for the amount of time available to them. Other forms of content and advice for scheduling. If you're going to be posting other types of content as well, then these might adhere to slightly different schedules. YouTube videos, for example, will more likely be once a week. This is fairly standard for YouTube creators, while social media posts should certainly be multiple times a day. Depending on your available time, the size of your brand, and the platforms you are working with, this might add up to a lot of work. In that case, you might need to become a little more strategic in considering how you will go about your marketing. For example, you might find that you can benefit from scheduling posts. WordPress itself and many social media platforms allow you to create posts and set them to post at a specific time. For those social media sites that don't support this feature, you can use external tools like ifttt.com or Buffer. This way, you will be able to ensure that your site has a steady flow of new content, even on days when you run out of time or perhaps inspiration. Another tip is to consider creating a content marketing scheduling calendar. This basically outlines all the content you need to create and shows you when and how you will post it. This will help you to ensure your marketing strategy fits within your routine and your schedule, and can that way help you to avoid missing posts or getting bogged down with other work. Remember, if you don't have time to write all the content yourself, then you could always use other creators to help you find the time. You can do this either by working with partners or by using freelancing sites and webmaster forums where people will advertise their skills. Make sure you pay a little more and use only the very best content creators. Anything less can hurt your brand.